Yankee and the Brit. Yes, Yankee and the Brit. One is a genius, the other's a twit. On the radio, the Deans have...
Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Hey.
Well, I was better till I realized I wasn't going to play your song.
Hey, you're going to have to turn the show down if you've got it on at the other end.
Okay, it's down.
Cool.
Last thing I want to do is listen to myself tonight.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Oh, and how
are you?
is that?
A whole lot of stuff going on.
Well, just if you feel like it, cue us in. First off, where are you?
I am in Pea Ridge, Georgia, which is out at the other end in the middle of the sticks, which is near Deering, Georgia, which is in the sticks, but not quite as far in the sticks as I am, which is 120 miles from Atlanta. So we're between Atlanta and Augusta, Georgia, if you know where Augusta, Georgia is.
So that's...
Yeah, I do. I think he said Pea Ridge, like pea, like going for a pea.
P-E-A, Pea Ridge, Georgia.
Oh, no, not T. P.
P.
For your penis.
Oh, no.
No, not yours, mine.
As I said penis, he knew what I meant.
Oh, no.
So you're out close to Dawsonville, Gainesville, out in that neck of the woods?
Not that far out. We're way past there. We're way out. We're so far out in the sticks that we have to pipe the sunlight in sometimes.
Well, you can't be out in the Chattahoochee.
No, we're way out there, and like the other side of Augusta, like you're in between Atlanta and Augusta, but not quite so far towards Atlanta. We're only like 25, 30 miles from Augusta.
Ah, well, you have a Georgia boy in the chat room. Thomas is in the chat room. He is from, oh my gosh, I know it's gonna pop into my head anytime. Sylvester or something like that. Oh, I don't know.
Sylvester, Georgia?
I think so, maybe.
I think I've heard of Sylvester.
Have I got that wrong? You know I've got that wrong, don't you?
Yeah.
Oconee Forest, out that way, Greensboro?
Past Greensboro, yeah. Past Greensboro. On past Madison, then you hit a little town called Thompson, and we're...
Thomas is in Sylvania.
Oh, he's in Sylvania. Okay, yes. I know where Sylvania is. I used to sing with a girl from Sylvania.
That sounds like a song title right there.
I was about to say.
Yeah, she was real good, and she still lives out there in Sylvania too. Her name was Paige Laracy.
Pleurisy?
Laracy.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Paige Laracy.
I thought you said she had pleurisy.
No, I hope not. Well, no.
All right. Well, anyways, so what's the music story? How'd you get into music out there in the back swamps where there's one light bulb in the local bar?
And you know what? You're exactly right. Where I was born, now, they talk about people, they talk about Elvis, for instance, the place where he was born and raised and all, how bad it was. Well, anyway, that's where I got started singing, is where I was born. In old Sheriff Cropper's house.
In Tupelo?
Yeah, he was born in Tupelo, but I was born in the outskirts of McDuffie County, Georgia.
All right.
In the old Sheriff Cropper's house, where my bed was in the kitchen, and my mother would wash dishes in the wash pan and cook and all in there and fold clothes in the kitchen. Well, she would sing, and she would sing more, and she would write songs and sing, and I'd be right there in the playpen or whatever, and I would sing along. I got some recordings somewhere of all that. But and then her sisters would come down, and they would sing, and it was beautiful. I got recordings of that, too. That's where I got my start.
I'd like to hear some of that. Wasn't Buford T. Pusser out from around that neck of the woods, or is that wrong?
I think he may have been a little further south.
That seemed like that first name where you said you were from.
McDuffie County.
Yeah, that sounded familiar. Maybe it was another movie or something, but it sounded familiar.
Yeah, it could have been. They might make one about me one day. Who knows?
So you were doing the Papa sing bass, Mamas play fiddle, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Sing bass. Mama sings tenor. Me and little brother join right in there.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Got to start there, and then we moved into town. And the funniest thing when we moved into town, my mother, for the first part of the year when we moved into town, she didn't have much time to sing or write because she was too busy chasing us around because we were flipping the light switches and flushing the toilet and running the water in the bath. We'd never seen any of that stuff, and
Yeah.
we just went hog wild. We thought we lived in a mansion when we moved into town. But and then she started attending a church down the road, and that's where I started singing again with her and my sister, and then sang in the choir and did all that up until I guess I was probably about 12 or 13 or 14, and then started working a lot. Well, I started working when I was about 11 years old, but started working a lot and got a taste for money, and then I kind of lost heart for singing there for a good long time. But yeah, I just love it. I always have. So one day I ran into somebody, and they said, "Well, why do you give up? Don't give up." And they told me, "You need to do what you're supposed to do." And I listened to that advice, and gave me the inspiration to keep going.
So you went, at that point, did you have a guitar or anything, or did you just go get one and get started?
Well, I was, let's see, about 7 years ago, I joined a band that was around here locally that was doing real good. And I just won a VH1 an award for, it's like third place for Song of the Year. And then I went out there with another fellow to hear this band. And when I heard them, I was like, wow, they sound great. So the next thing you know, I joined that band and started singing with them. And we toured around for a long time, probably 10 years. And we got signed to a millionaire's label. This guy had his own label called Rockin' R Records. And we shot 3 music videos, and we toured around, and he spent a bunch of money, and it was a blast. We cut another CD. We'd already cut one. We cut one before we met him. And then we met him, and we cut another one, and had a great time. And then about 7 years ago now, or 5 years ago, it all went kaboom. It was over. You know what I mean? And I was heartbroken for a long time. I just didn't even care. I didn't want to sing. It was just miserable. I was miserable. I kept running from it. And like I said, one day I met a special person, and they told me that I needed to be doing it. If that's what's in my heart, I need to do it. So I started doing it again, and it's been fun.
Never give up, never surrender.
That's right. That's right. And I just enjoy it. And it's not about me. It's about the people. It's about, I've sang in a room with 2 people, and I've sang in front of 5,000 people or more. And it joys my heart just to look at somebody and see them smile, and you're making, something happen in their life. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. It's about the people and the music.
Which crowd made you feel the best? Singing to the little crowds or the big crowds?
I tell you, the best time I ever had is when I sang to some elderly folks that were, they were up there in age, and just to see their smile. And, some of them, and I'll tell you about this one woman. This was at a VFW, and I got out there, and I do some Elvis stuff, and I was out there shaking my whatever you have. I was shaking, and I was doing the Elvis thing, and I scared the bejesus out of her. But other than that, everybody else had fun. But yeah, I mean, the smaller crowds are more intimate, and I love that.
You think they feel it inside a little better because they're more focused than a big large crowd with all the extra noise and all that?
I think so, because I've been we played a lot of clubs, and we played up in Alabama and all around, and we played up in Tunica, Mississippi, and a lot of the places you go in and play, it sounds like a bunch of cackling chickens, and not, there's people out there that go to places and they're good patrons, and they tip their bartenders, and they do whatever they have to do, but I mean, you can't hear anything except them.
I heard that. I don't like to go to those big venues like that.
And then and around this area, some places you can go and you can do an hour or 2, and everybody in there is as quiet as a mouse. And you might get 5 claps out of the whole place. And you sing your butt off, and you put on a hell of a show, and you don't think that anybody cared. But later on down the road, you run into somebody, and you go, you know what, y'all were good. Y'all were good. You didn't think they were listening. It's different types of places around here, the atmosphere, you just never know what to expect. I can tell you, I've opened with the band I was in, for over 32 major artists. And one of the funniest shows we had during the club we were playing in was with Jamie Johnson. And he was new. You know, he just broke the ice, and he was in this area. So he got out there, and he blew the doors off that place. Of course, we opened for him, and we had already blew the doors off one time. But he got up there and blew the doors off. He was shooting the T-shirts into the crowd and giving them CDs and everything, and they still wasn't clapping. They wasn't doing nothing. They were just, most of them were just sitting there and looked like a bunch of cows grazing, you know. And he took a break, and he got mad, and he cussed every one of them out, you know. And he said, "I gave you T-shirts and CDs and everything. Golly, what the hell is wrong with y'all people?"
Wow.
So the club owner was like, you know, he's kind of a rebel, and I love the man. You know, we sat back there and talked when we were back there backstage, you know. But he really upset the club owner pretty bad, and they told him, well, when you get paid tonight, you need to make it a while before you come back. So he didn't come back for a good little while, but it was funny. It was real funny, and you know, around here you just don't never know what to expect. There's, you know, places you can play and people enjoy it, and there's places you can play and you got to run when you get off stage because somebody's coming after you. You know, you just don't know.
That sounds like one of them little bars with a wire fence over the stage.
Yeah, that's the only thing we never had was the chicken wire in front of the stage. We did play a place, and I tell you, this is a funny story. We played a place down the road. Let's see, where was that at? Near Macon, Georgia. In between Macon and Savannah down there. Kerrigan's Country Bar was the name of it. And they put us up for a whole week over in a nice little place. And it was actually a single wide trailer in this trailer park. You still there?
Yeah.
All right.
Just taking it in.
It was in this trailer park, right? And so we stayed there the first night. Everything was cool. We were practicing and having fun. You know, we played the first night, and the place was crazy. We were having to. We had two bodyguards. One of them name was Big John, and he was a big old fella, and he was just grabbing people by the head and shoving them back off the stage. And then we had a bodyguard named Tiny, and Tiny was bigger than Big John, and they had to keep people from attacking us. You know, it was funny. But about the second night we played, we come back to the place there, and we went in, and there was a pumpkin on the table. We're like, wait a minute, where does pumpkin come from? And, you know, I don't have anything against Spanish or Hispanic people or whatever, but the trailer park they put us in was slap full of them. Every trailer was Hispanic people. And so we come in, this pumpkin sitting there, and it had carved in it, "Leave crackers or die." So we all come in, it was like this big old pumpkin with this carved in there, and one of the guys, he's like, man, you know, maybe we need to go, you know. And I'm like, no, shoot, we ain't pay attention to all that, you know, we don't care. And it was the funniest thing, because he couldn't hardly sleep or anything. He was so scared. But
sleeping with one eye open, huh?
Oh yeah. And we had a lot of fun there. And the next day, me and the bass player, we went out to wash some clothes down at the laundromat. And I tell you what, they had tarantulas climbing around in there. It was bad. But we was washing clothes and all. We had a good time, went out and bought some breakfast, and we come back. Some other guys were going down the road doing something else, and this particular guy, he was sitting in that trailer. So I told the bass player, I said, you just stop right here a minute. So I jumped out about 4 trailers up, and he eased on down there, and I ran down there, and I ran down the side of that trailer, and I beat on it, and I was hollering. Boy, he came out of that front door of that trailer, nothing but a shirt and his underwear. It scared him so bad. He just thought for sure that they were coming in to get him. It was funny.
The Mexicans is coming to do their dirty.
Yeah. It was awesome. It really was. But
well, I've never met any of them that were that bad. You know, there's always a few, but hell, I mean, you know, Texas is full of Mexicans. I Matter of fact, I get along better with some of the Mexicans than I do the the regular Texan people. They're the ones that have stopped Donna and I can't tell you how many times to change a tire or ask us if we need a jump start. I mean, they can't even speak English, but they've been the ones there to stop and help us without question.
Right, and that's great. And down there, it's further south, Georgia. We had seen a program the night before. I forgot to tell you this. Before the pumpkin showed up, we seen a program. I guess it was a news special, and they were talking about all these home invasions, about people busting doors down and coming in or whatever. So the guy was already paranoid. And when I jumped out and ran down the side of that trailer, beating on that wall, boy, it scared him bad.
That just ain't right.
But that band ended, and like I said, I was heartbroken. I couldn't go on. I didn't know what to do. And
you write a lot of your own songs?
I do. Yes, I do. And usually I have an accompanist to help me, and, somebody else on the guitar too. I pick around on the guitar a little and try to figure things out, and then somebody else a good friend of mine would come in and help me with it, and we'd put it together and put it out there and see what would happen. I wrote a lot of the songs in the band I was in, and they went over real good. We mixed them up. We had about 90 to 120 songs that we would rotate and do for different people. One place would send us different songs and say, if you're going to come play here, you need to do this song. So we were doing like Stevie Wonder, Very Superstitious, and we were doing Brick House.
Wow.
Commodores. It was fun.
Where was your Mexican songs at?
We didn't have any of that stuff.
Are you friends with Donna Joe then?
Yes, I am.
Have you done any singing with her?
When I first met her, we did a few shows together. Well, we didn't do them together. I went to see her perform, and she invited me up, and it was awesome. It really was. And I haven't seen her in a while, and we haven't done anything else together since then. But I tell you what, it was something. And that's when I started performing and doing my thing again. And I'd like to. You got to give credit where credit's due. I told her the story about how heartbroken I was and everything, and she said, well, you just don't need to give up. You just need to do that.
Okay, how many people got to tell you that before you get that?
Yeah, I mean, she's the one that said it, and I have to give her credit, and I did. I wasn't sure at first. I thought about it for a couple of weeks after that. I seen some of the responses when she would invite me up just to sing. It was her show, but she would invite me up to sing. And this one place she played, I told her I had this trick with the chair that I would do. So that night I decided to do that trick with the chair. And what I would do is I would grab a chair and I would be sitting in it, and I would turn around and push it out in front of me, and then I would run and jump on the chair and slide and let it roll out from under me, grab it, spin it back around, and sit down. Well, when I did it, I ran, I did the chair. When I hit the chair slid out from under me. I landed on my back. The chair kept on going, and I slid for about 2 foot. And everybody in the place was like, oh, my God, is he hurt? But, yeah, I really appreciate what she did. You have to give people credit. There's a lot of people out there that get help or a little boost along the way, and they forget where they are or where they come from.
That's right.
And she did help me in that way. She did. And just a real inspiration. And she's an incredible artist.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of talented people in this area, but I tell you what, hands down, she's it. She's got it. And I thank the world of her and her family and her husband and everything. I respect them very much so.
Do you play out now? Or let me re-ask the question. Is that all you do now, is play music, or do you still have a job?
I still do work, unfortunately.
What are you doing?
I do everything that has to do with home repair, service calls. I do electrical. I do plumbing, carpentry work. I replace hot water heaters, busted pipes, floors that fall in. I do all that stuff, and I've been doing that stuff for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been doing that all my life, too. Well, I've been a sign painter all my life, but yeah, I've done the carpentry, a little bit of electrical, drywall, hell, you name it, I've probably tried everything at least once.
Right. And I do that, and then when I'm not doing that, I'm writing. I'm working on a couple of books right now. And I do have on Facebook, I have a writer's page. So I'm writing a couple of books, and one of them is based on fact but sort of fiction. And then I'm writing one that's like a horror story, kind of Alfred Hitchcock, Stephen King kind of thing. And then this other book is short stories. There's like 3 books I'm working on. And then on top of that, I'm an artist. I do folk art. So I have a artist page also where I do these drawings. And I do these drawings on reclaimed materials that I tear out of old houses. And this set that I'm working on right now is over 130 of them.
Wow.
These panels came out of a house that was built in like 1933.
Where the hell you get all the time for all this?
I make it happen. I can do one of these drawings, and I'll have to send y'all some pictures. But I can do one of these drawings in probably, if I try, I have done 6 at a time. I put them all the way around me, and I sit in this chair that spins around, and I will draw this part, and this part, and this part, and this part. Then I will go back, and I will draw this part, this part, this part, this part, and then do all 6 of them.
Well, your brain is running about 150 miles an hour.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Somebody asked me one time, are you on drugs? I said, well, I probably need them to get some sleep, but I know I'm not, But, yeah, I can do one of these drawings in 20 minutes.
Wow. I got to see what these look like.
And they're nice, but the frames and stuff like that take a lot longer because I take the old baseboards and the old door jambs and the old material out of houses, and I'll run them through the table saw, and I'll cut notches in them and grooves, and I will frame these pictures.
I'll bet that makes some beautiful frames, though, especially if you leave it old looking.
Yes, it does. It really does. I've sent Mr. Phil Crans out there on 94.7 in Ringgold, Georgia. He's one of the first guys that played one of my songs when I started back off. I sent him a picture, and he loves it. And there's another lady out there that's good friends with us, Miss Donna Reed out there in Arizona. She's bought 2, and I gave her 1. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I've sent several of them out, and I've been selling them. But I started doing that to try to generate some money to record. I mean, I've only done a 5-song EP of this new start. You know what I mean? And that cost me several $1,000s just to do 5 songs. So wow. I was like, when I started, I sat down one day. Well, here's how it happened. I sat down one day to write a song. This has been a while back. And I tried to write these lyrics down, and I couldn't do it. And I balled it up, and I had a pile of paper laying on the floor where I tried to write this song. Then all of a sudden, this idea hit me for this first book. And I've been working on that book now for 7 years. And I think I've got something like, 70, maybe 300 pages now. Who knows? It'll be a series probably.
Have you got a band that tours with you, or just whoever you can pick up when you need them?
Well, right now, I'm working with 3 different booking agents. Well, actually 2. I'm trying to work out a deal with Wild Horse Entertainment out of Nashville and this other man out of Nashville. But right now I have a drummer and I have me. But if we get a gig, the players I'll have to pick up in Nashville. I'll just send them a set list and then we'll just play. But I am recruiting and putting together a new band as we speak.
What do you use for a studio?
Well, to record, I use a studio in Augusta, Georgia. Greenlight Studios in Augusta, Georgia. They do a real good job. They also have another studio in Louisiana. And they're excellent. They do a pretty good job. Now, the next 5 songs that I do, they will be done in Nashville. And they sure will. It's going to cost a little more for whoever, but...
You like Nashville? You like hanging around there?
Well, we used to go up there a good bit, and we recorded the first album with the band I was in. We recorded that up there. But I'm trying to I'm working out a deal with an independent label. It's a label, but they're independent. And when I do whatever I do with this label, I'm still going to be independent. They're just going to back me. Right. And they're going to help me. And, it's not going to be like I'm tied down like a lot of them are, but I'm trying to work out something with them, and we're going to go from there. And what we're shooting for is to do a debut on live country radio, and I hope that'll happen this summer.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. And as far as the drawing and stuff, how I got that idea, one day I was taking all these 16 by 16 panels down, little wooden panels, and I was taking them down and throwing them in a pile. And I asked the man that owned the place, what are you going to do with these? He said, you can have them. So as I was stacking them up, I started looking at them, and I'm like, wait a minute. I see drawings here. I see artwork right here. So I brought them all home and stacked them up and got them all right there waiting. I just have to do, I think I've got in here, I'm on my little stage. I do a live show called the Pea Ridge Junction every Saturday night about 8:30, sometimes 9 o'clock. But I'm sitting on the stage now that I built inside my home. And I have about 6 or 7 of those drawings sitting right here with me. But
now, what do you use that stage for? Is that just for practice?
Well, I do a live show called the Pea Ridge Junction. I sure do.
Oh, yeah. Where do you find that at?
Facebook, like my Facebook account.
Uh-huh.
Robbie Ansley at Facebook.com. And it's every Saturday night between 8:30 and 9. So I have a camera set up, and I have props, and I have a little bit of comedy. There's this guy that reads the mail and does all the introductions and stuff. He's actually me, but I'm all in costume. You know what I mean? And so I do this, and he plays the harmonica or harmonica. He calls it a humonica. Well, his name is Pete, and he gets out. Whistling Pete's his name. He gets out, and he does the introductions, and he dances around a little bit, and he talks to the sound man, which the sound man is, I hate to reveal it to people, but the sound man is behind the door. There's a door that says backstage, and there's a glass right there, and then the sound man stays back there. His name is Sam. So him and Pete interact, and then Pete dismisses himself because he's got to go milk about 70 cows, So then he introduces me, and I come out, and I sing, and I have to do a quick change. I change really fast. Then I come out, and then I do a show. I sing originals, and I do a bunch of covers, and I dance around and act goofy. And
this is all live, huh?
Yes, live.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
And I do 2.5, 3 hours sometimes.
Wow. Is any of that fed out on Facebook?
Yes, it's all on there. If you go back on,
send us a notice next time you go on.
I will. I sure will.
Yeah, if I'm here, if we're around, I'd like to have a look at that.
I'll even send you the one I did yesterday. I'll even send it to you. I'll post it and send it to you.
Yeah, good. That'd be cool.
Check it out. I was a little goofy last night.
What's wrong with that?
Sometimes I have to work 7 days a week.
Well, you know how we are. You talk about goofy.
I know. Y'all are absolutely hilarious. I'm like, the first time I got invited to hear y'all, I'm like, oh my God. These people are a lot like me. You know what I mean?
Just think what we could do if we had the time.
Yes.
That's the worst thing. Like you know how busy things get, man. We just don't have time.
And, for everything I do, I will squeeze, like, if I wake up in the morning, my youngest daughter gets on the school bus about 5, so I'll wake up about 5, and I'll run in here, and I will grab a 16 by 16 panel, and I will draw the rough outline real quick, and then I'll go get ready for work. I'll come back in. I'll draw on that some more, and then I may go to my writer's page and write a whole paragraph on the book, which is already. And I told somebody about this writing the book thing. I don't know what's going to happen in the next chapter of the book until I write the first line. It's none of it thought of beforehand. I don't have any pre-thought at all, and that's the amazing thing about that. I don't know. I guess I get it from my mother. She was a writer, and it just comes to me like automatic. I just don't know.
You're talking about writing a paragraph at a time. I have a page out there that it doesn't get any use anymore, but when I started it was a number of years back. But I started it as like a spy story, and the idea was for people to come in and add the next paragraph. And everybody could add a paragraph and let that story lead itself wherever it may go, and it went pretty good for a little while, and then it just kind of faded off and everybody disappeared. So, I got to thinking, well, hell, it wasn't worth the time then. But I don't know. Maybe there's people out there, and I just didn't have it out there.
That's actually a great idea, though. It really was. I mean, and it is.
I'll send you the link. You can look at it. Maybe it was the title of it. I don't even remember what it's called now. The Art of the Story, I think I called it.
Right.
And the whole thing, was just to have different people write a next paragraph, but it just never seemed to take off for some reason.
Yeah, in this book that I've been working on, Donna may find this interesting. There's a British guy that comes into the story. And I actually, in the story, I make him sound British.
Well, those bloody Brits are everywhere.
Yes, they are. That's funny. But I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here, though. I really do. That's
all right. Thanks for taking the time. What's your plans for the future? Are you headed in any particular direction, or just do what you're doing?
Well, the Pea Ridge Junction live show thing, it's good for now, but this spring, later on this spring, early summer, I'm heading for a radio tour. When I get the CDs, the physical CDs. The CDs are on CD Baby right now, well, the 5 songs, and they're going to go to iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. But when I get the physical CDs, I'm going to start the radio tour, and I'm going to go from here all the way to Atlanta, Alabama, wherever I got to go that way, and hit all the country stations that way. And then I'm going to go from here up north, up into North Carolina, and then I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to just hit all I can and do a radio tour. And then after that, hopefully by then, do some more recording and then put the 10 songs together. It'll be 10 songs by then. I've got probably, I don't know, over 400 now that I've written, probably more. It doesn't even, I can't even think of how many there really is.
Well, by cracky, that'll be a hell of a tour to do all that traveling. Be a nice vacation.
Yeah, I've never had many vacations. Our idea of a vacation when I used to take off, well, when I was in the band, we'd go out of town and I'd use my vacation time where I used to work at, and it was fun, but my idea of a vacation was to load the family up and go up to the family. My family had a nursery up in the North Carolina mountains, and we'd go stay there, in the mountains. Well, up there, and this is a funny story, my 2 cousins, they're both about 6'8", big old fellas, they're working men. So I remember the first couple of years we went up there, about 4:30 in the morning, we'd get a knock at the door, and I'll do a sound effect. I'm like, who is it? I mean, there's somebody at the door. And go to the door, and they're on the other side, and they're like, hey, Robbie, this here's James. Ain't you ready to go to work? Well, up there, when you stay on the mountain, men folk go to work. So I'd work the whole time. We were there helping them, and then my wife and the babies, they would be just hanging around the mountain, playing in the streams and stuff. But I tell you what, we learned after a couple of years, it was exciting and everything. But she's like, this year we need to go stay at a hotel.
There you go.
I was like, okay.
That was my plan when I left Ohio. I thought maybe when I got older I'd end up moving to West Virginia, where a lot of my kin are, and live in the mountains and all that. But as I got older, my body decided, we ain't doing wintertime, son, so you're going to have to think of something else. So here I am in Texas, where it's at least tolerable.
I tell you what, in the mountains up there, that's where my mom was born, up on that mountain, Wolf Mountain, North Carolina. If you live there, you've got to have money already, or you better have a plan, or you won't make it. You have to either work off the land, or you got to drive 50, 60 miles to a job.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I didn't know there was any place left where you could really get that far away from the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah. It's still way up there. It's just below the Appalachian Trail, the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it's probably about 60 miles from Pigeon Forge, but it's way up in there, you know what I mean? And,
oh, yeah. They get snowed in there, don't they?
Oh, yeah. One year I called my cousin James, and he says, well, I can see the very end of the antenna of my truck. I was like, wow. It was so. They have a home-based CB radio in there, and they have to radio into the nearest town, and the helicopter has to drop commodities. You know what I mean?
Well, right there, my friend, is why I live in Texas. That ought to about narrow it down.
I got a few friends out there in Texas.
Oh, I love it here. I have no plans of leaving now.
I got a lot of family out there, I found out.
We get just enough winter, it irritates me a little bit, but doesn't last too long, so it's not too bad.
All the family I have out there, they don't really know me. I met one via online, but they all came there after 1847. They left here where I am now, because where I am now, my family came here in 1720.
Wow! So
they were like the first of my last name. You know, they were the first here.
Now they was living by themselves out there.
Oh yeah, they my great-great-grandpa had built this house on Indian territory, and it was built in 1768, and it's still there in McDuffie County, probably about 20 miles from here, and it still stands.
Wow.
It's like one of the oldest houses in Georgia. But yeah, they've been here that long, and then all my family out there, I had met some of them, and I told them, I said, y'all came from here, don't you? And they were they're young, like, what? And I sent them all the information. They're like, you know what? You're right. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, we got to take a step forward here. How about we run through our 10 questions and see what you got to say about that, and then we'll get you out of here.
All right.
All right. Well, what's your favorite word?
Favorite word. Favorite word. Okay, wait a minute. Favorite word. I tell you what. What about kindness?
That's not bad. What's your least favorite word?
I probably can't say that on the radio, but any word used in a vulgar way toward me.
That makes perfect sense to me, because I poke somebody in the schnoz, they say something like that to me. What turns you on?
What turns me on? Oh, Lord. Let's see. I probably can't answer that in the right way without being shot. I tell you what, a good cup of coffee and some nice music.
Yeah, on a good, cool Sunday morning.
Yes.
What turns you off?
Haters.
Oh, God, they're everywhere. What sound do you love?
Sound? I like the sound of an early morning train.
Oh, boy. Hell yeah, boy. Hear it echoing way off through the trees. Now, because I'm a train man. I love that sound.
Yeah, me too.
What sound do you hate?
Oh, let's see. The sound of a shrieking child at Squaw Mart.
Squaw Mart. There you go. I haven't heard that one yet. That's a good one.
Yeah, I did that several years ago. I was walking in there, and I was with somebody, and you could hear a child going,
oh, please don't.
And I was like, okay, welcome to Squaw Mart.
Jesus, God almighty, you ain't kidding. What's your favorite curse word?
Curse word? I don't really have a favorite, but probably be, damn it.
That's close enough. I get where that's going.
But I like to try to say dang it.
Dag nabbit?
Yeah, dag nabbit, yeah.
What profession other than yours, and it doesn't matter whether you use music or whether you use your carpentry, would you like to attempt?
Other than mine, acting.
Acting?
Acting. And I've already got some hooks in the water for that already. I got something in the works on that.
And what profession would you not like to do?
It's one of those I'm already doing right now, which is work on sewers.
Oh, I know. I was going to say, I don't want to do anything that Mike Rowe does.
I've had to work on some terrible sewers.
Oh, God. I've never done. I put in new ones, but I never had to work on any.
Oh, goodness. I get calls when they're, stopped up.
I can go out and dig a trench and backfill a hole all day long, but I ain't getting down in that stink.
Yeah, I had to put on coveralls, gloves, mask, clothespin on your nose.
That's not no job for me. Number 10, last one, and we'll get you out of here. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you get to the pearly gates?
Is that really you?
Yes, Lord. Who else would it be?
Well, I hope I do see him, you know.
Well, I think we all do hope for that, but who really knows until you get to the other side?
That's right. Well, I'd like to say hello to everybody out there in the chat room, listening and everything. And it's just a real honor being here and
thank you,
all
kindly.
that.
Appreciate it very much. You would not believe how nice it is not only have you in the chat, more than just to be during the show, but to have you hang out with us and come over and spend a little time with us.
Yes, I mean, it's amazing. I tell you what, I've been trying to catch every show, and you know, I'm on about 30 different independent shows right now, and I catch some of them and some of them I don't. Some of them are like 3 o'clock in the morning my time, but like daytime there, you know what I mean? Over in the UK and places like that, you know. But
watch out for them bloody Brits.
You bet I will.
Well done, old chap.
Yes, I'd like to have a spot of tea.
I'll see if I can have Donna rustle you up one.
Yeah.
Go along with that black coffee on a cool Sunday morning.
Yes, I'm having some coffee right now, matter of fact.
Oh, I've done coffee'd myself out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Robbie. Appreciate the time, man. It's been fun. Really nice to have you hang out for a little bit. I got 3 of your songs over here we're going to throw out there.
Well, I sure appreciate it. I do. And when I record a new one, I'll make sure and inform you.
Yeah, when them CDs come out, get us one of those puppies.
You're absolutely right. You're going to get one.
Now,
don't worry.
Here's a little hint. Don't forget to autograph it.
Oh, I will. Believe me, I will.
We're going to put it up on the Yanki and Brit Wall of Shame.
Okay, the Wall of Shame.
Yep.
All right. I will send you that link on that last show and just see what you think.
Yeah, please do. I want to watch that.
And to everyone out there listening, out there in chat land, in the chat room, y'all have a wonderful Sunday and everything. And y'all are listening to the Yanki and the Brit Show.
Yankee and the Brits, the place to be. Radio living is the life for me. Airwaves spreading out so far and wide. Keep your FM, just give me that internet side.
Online is where I'd rather stay. I've got a lot of music to play. I just adore a Yankee view. Darling, I love you, but give me a show to do.
The Chat.
The Brats.
On air.
That's fair.
You are my wife.
Goodbye, British life.
The Yankee and the Brit on air.